I have two readings, two excerpts. This first, and these are from Admiral Semmes' Memoirs of Service Afloat. This first is from the chapter describing the preparation of the CSS Alabama to make war. It is very useful practice for nations to pause occasionally and look back upon their history. It teaches them many lessons which they would not otherwise learn. It shows them how to avoid inconsistencies and prevents them from becoming dishonest as circumstances change. The precedents which I designed to cite will be drawn from the history of the War of 1776. It will be necessary, therefore, to run a brief parallel between that war and the War of 1861 to show that the precedents established in the former are applicable to the circumstances of the latter. To lay aside entirely the question of the right of the Southern states to secede and to put the war between the states on no higher ground than that between the colonies and Great Britain, which was a mere rebellion, the following parallel appears. The original 13 colonies, when they formed a part of the British government, declared their independence of that government. The Confederate States did the same against the United States. Great Britain made war upon the colonies in consequence of this declaration. So did the United States against the Confederate States. The colonies claimed and exercised the rights of war. So did the Confederate States. Seven months after the end of hostilities, Admiral Semmes was arrested, taken from his home, and carried to Washington, where he stayed and was imprisoned for nearly 4 months. This is the last paragraph of a letter he wrote to then President Andrew Johnson. I have thus laid before you, tediously I fear, and yet as concisely as was consistent with clearness, the grounds upon which I claim at your hands, who are the guardian of the honor of a great nation, my discharge from arrest and imprisonment. I have spoken freely and frankly, as it became an American citizen to speak to the Chief Magistrate of the American Republic. We live in times of high party excitement, when men, unfortunately, are but too prone to take counsel of their passions. But passions die and men die with them, and after death comes history. In the future, Mr. President, when America shall have a history, my record and that of the gallant Southern people will be engrafted upon and become part of your history, the pages of which are now acting. And the prayer of this petition is that you will not permit the honor of the American name to be tarnished by perfidy on those pages. In this paper, I've stood strictly upon legal defenses, but should those barriers be beaten down, conscious of the rectitude of my conduct throughout a checkered and eventful career, when the commerce of half a world was at my mercy, and when the passions of men, North and South, were tossed into a whirlwind by the current events of the most bloody and terrific war that the human race had ever seen, I shall hope to justify and defend myself against any and all charges affecting the honor and reputation of a man and a soldier. Whatever else may be said of me, I have, at least, brought no discredit upon the American name and character. I am very respectfully, Admiral Semmes.